to supercharge your business with one powerful move? In today's competitive market, finding innovative and effective ways to reach your target audience is essential for business growth and success. Hi, I'm Terrence Hutchinson, the host of Your Best Lifestyles podcast, which reaches over 1.3 million listeners in 53 countries. As the host of Your Best Lifestyles podcast, I offer a powerful platform to elevate your brand and connect with over 1.3 million engaged listeners across 53 countries who are passionate about health, wellness, entertainment, and personal development. Contact me directly at www.yourbestlifestyles.com to explore how we can elevate your business together on Your Best Lifestyles. Thank you for tuning in to learn about this incredible opportunity. To recap, advertising on Your Best Lifestyles means reaching over 1.3 million dedicated listeners across 53 countries who are passionate about health, wellness, entertainment, and personal development. Don't miss out on elevating your brand and connecting with our community. Be sure to contact us today to explore how we can spotlight your business. Stay tuned for more exciting updates in our next video. Until then, let's take your business to the next level together.
Welcome back to another live episode of the Your Best Lifestyles Health and Wellness Podcast. I am your host, Terrence Hutchinson, right here at the O. Robinson Public Relations and Media Group Studios in Marietta, Georgia. Happy Sunday. Hope you guys are having a great day thus far. It's a little nippy out there, as you already know. Atlanta weather is very tricky, so make sure you follow the protocol. Bundle up, many layers. Drink some cocoa, coffee, whatever you like to do. Stay warm before you go out there, man. So yeah, we hope everybody's doing well. Happy holidays. Hope everybody has an amazing Thanksgiving. Now we're leading into Christmas and so on and so forth, And shout out to everybody who may be dealing with something this holiday. Loss of a loved one. I know many of you that I know personally has lost a spouse or a parent, a child, and it can be very challenging for you guys during the holiday period. So prayers up. Shout out to you guys. Stay strong, stay healthy as much as you possibly can. And don't look for things that make you feel better, like drugs and alcohol and porn and all that other stuff. A lot of y'all going on the deep end. I understand you're going through grief and everything like that, but you want to make sure that you're dealing with your grief and your pain in a healthy way. Okay, so the alcohol and the weed smoking, all the other stuff that you're doing, is only temporary fixes, right? It's only a band-aid. So the pain will get better, depending on how you're dealing with it. I know how it is to lose people. The pain will get better, but holiday seasons always go a little bad. So I hope you guys are taking care of yourself. You're eating right, drinking your water, exercising, getting enough sleep. You're practicing good stress management, time management, all those great things. These things are components to our overall health and wellness. You can't have one without having the other. Okay, so you want to make sure that you guys are following the protocols, utilizing the strategies for success when it comes down to your overall well-being. Is very important. All right, so I want to say shout out to uh, Lucky Johnson and Lucky Johnson Studios for the brand new episodes that get starting up on LJN Network starting in January, called Atlanta Bosses, featuring my wife, Butterby Rock, and a few other women here located in Atlanta who is doing major things. So be on the lookout for that. And also congratulations to, once again, my wife, who will be working with Tyler Perry soon. That's a great thing. And thank you for everybody who supported BBR Indie Films and who came out in October, yeah. And also everybody who's coming out on January 22nd. This is our 8th indie film. So we had a lot of great selections, and we hope that you guys are able to come on out and connect with us, network. So if you are an actor, director, producer, musical artist, you play instruments, you do makeup, you do hair, whatever you do, you want to make sure that you guys are in the building January 22nd at Studio Movie Grill, 40 Paris Perry Ferry Road, Marietta, Georgia. And we hope that you guys come on through and chop it out with us. And we got the lovely therapist on the line, Sherry on Phelps. You still here? Because you look like you're freezing up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. You look frozen, so that's why I'm checking.
Oh,
Okay, great. So we
am I
no,
still
I can see
frozen?
you now. No,
Okay.
you're not frozen now. Okay, so let me. My next guest is Sherry on N.A. Phelps. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist. Now, she's been on this show before, and I love interviewing her because she always lays down some amazing advice for our listeners to really get back on track. And I'm gonna read a little bit of insert from her bio, so for your newcomers who are getting reintroduced or introduced to Sherry on, I'm gonna give you a little bit from her bio. So uh, Sherry on N.A. Phelps is she brings a wealth of experience and expertise as a licensed marriage and family therapist with a solid educational foundation. She holds a graduate degree in marriage and family therapy, demonstrating a commitment to the field of specialized knowledge. She's also have a bachelor's degree in sociology, which provides her with a broader understanding of the social dynamics that influence individuals as well as relationships. Now, she's worked with over 100 clients, but I'm pretty sure the count is way more than that right now, right? And way more than that right now because she's super busy. Clients encompassing individuals, couples, and groups. She's guided them towards achieving their mental health goals. Now, this is really important because right now, during this times of uncertainty and chaos in the world, it's a lot of things going on. So you need you need your cognitive awareness, right? All right. So through mental health goals, her approach is rooted in the belief that true transformation, y'all, occurs when we embark on a journey of self discovery, leading to enhanced self awareness, inner tranquility. Now, listen, tranquility. We need that inner tranquility. Okay, and more profound interpersonal connections. These things are truly important for us to have. Me too. Trust me. All right. So throughout her practice, she's discovered that her clients often seek therapy for healing and personal growth. Okay. They yearn for an approach that fosters deep exploration of their thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Right. So Sherion is a firm believer and advocate of the power of introspection. And we're going to get into that because she got a great way of describing what introspection is. All right. She guides her client from inward to outward, which is a profound perspective, harnessing the therapeutic methodologies that cater to all individuals, couples, groups, and family. Welcome back to the show, Miss Sherion Phelps. How you doing today, Queen?
I'm doing really good, and I really, really appreciate you taking your time out to do this with me.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure seeing you, working with you, interviewing you, and because I'm always constantly learning something from you. Every time I speak with you, it's like, oh, okay, I can use that. That's pretty dope. So when we talk about introspective, tell everybody what do you mean by that? There you go.
Okay. I didn't hear your question, but I think you're back now. Is this happening on my end, you think?
Yeah, it's happening on your end, but it's all good. What it does, it'll keep going. Don't worry about it.
Okay. So, what do you ask me? I apologize. I didn't hear you.
Your definition of introspective.
Okay, my definition of introspective is you must have the ability to understand yourself. That's just a way to simplify it. Know what your intentions are, know what your in the moment thought processes are, is a good way for you to have introspective. It's like your energy. What is your energy? What is your vibe? What is your frequency? To really know that is just a great way of simplifying what introspection is. And a lot of people really don't know where they are
Yeah.
energetically, mentally. They
Yeah.
absolutely don't have a clue, and they don't even understand sometimes when they are operating on a level that of things and emotions and thought patterns from the past.
Right. Now, the last time you was on this show, you was super busy. I can imagine how booked you are right now. Are you seeing any different challenges among couples and families, or a continuation of the same thing with couples and families?
Okay, so what I will say is I think that social media influencers are definitely ruining marriages.
Oh, 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 oh. She
Oh,
already, she already jumped in with it. Oops. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
that's the new theme that I'm seeing. They are definitely, I don't know if people will understand this when I say this, but they are definitely manipulating the will of a lot of people. They are
And I,
definitely interfering with their wants and needs in a relationship, and it's really, really damaging, especially to people that love one another. It's
yeah.
the best.
I I understand because I told my wife the other day, I was like, man, if I can just not get on social media and see the twerking and all the other stuff, saying like I posed a question was like, what can if I had my way, what can I take away from social media? That probably would be one of them.
Yeah, I don't really think that that's quite what I'm saying. You know how people get on social media and they have so much to say about what a woman wants and what a man needs?
Oh, just okay. So I got it. Okay, so we're talking about two different things. Well, my that's my perspective what I'm talking about. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's great too. Because I know a lot of people who call themselves relationship coaches and all that stuff like that, and I'm like, bro, you're divorced 3 times, and anywho,
right.
so I see a lot of that stuff too. But go into a little bit more of in depth of what you mean, and what can you do to help couples get out of that pit.
Okay, so your wife is not being masculine and your husband is not being feminine.
Oh, damn.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
emotions of your woman that mean that she has toxic masculinity.
yeah,
Understand that as some hurt and pain or some unresolved things that she may be experiencing in your relationship, things, ghost of past things that's happened in your relationship, a ghost of old family dynamics. If
gotcha.
your husband is desiring different things now, doesn't necessarily make him feminine.
Hmm.
So now if he wants, I guess, a pedicure or something, let him have at it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm seeing where the influence is coming. So women are coming in and they are confused about this different way of being for men and for women. So they are not being able to match that up with how they have been raised. I have not been raised to take my husband out on a date.
Hmm.
I have not been raised to buy him a spa package. I
Okay.
have to gain an understanding for that. I grew up here in Georgia. I'm a female. We weren't raised that way. We were raised to cook and clean, and that was supposedly be all you would need.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is people are coming to therapy because somewhere that's shifting and it's
Yeah.
causing chaos in their marriage
Yeah.
because
But
they're not
that's
really
just,
understanding. What do you mean now you want a spa package? What do you mean now you want a dozen of roses? What do you mean now you want to be dated and courted in this way?
hmm.
It's confusing because it goes against everything, at least in the Georgia South, that a female's been raised to do.
But is a female or a male open to for change? You know what I'm saying? Are
Yeah,
you find
but
they are okay?
that's why they're in therapy.
Hmm.
The flexibility is not there. I am not having an opinion about it in this moment. I don't have an opinion about it. But you asked
Yeah.
me what I was seeing
Yeah.
in couples today, and that's what I'm seeing.
Oh, wow.
And it's
But
a
you
lot
know,
of that on social media. That's what I'm saying. And I'm not sure if what the dynamics is and what I'm wanting in my relationship is being influenced by social media, or do I really want a spa package?
yeah, got you. Yeah, I can see that. It can be some guys might be looking on social media and it'd be another guy saying, "Hey, my wife bought me a spa package," and you saying, "Huh, my wife never did that for me." And then you asked for one, and she was like, "Huh, well, I ain't been raised to do that. I'm not doing all that." Now here come the conflict, and here you are coming to talk to you now, like
Yeah,
you
but the
know,
conflict arises because not that I just want the spa package, but now, hey, because you never did this for me, maybe you haven't been appreciating me all of this time. It's the
oh,
emotions
okay,
felt behind maybe the fact that it had been done.
mm-hmm,
It's not
yeah,
simply saying, hey, babe, do you mind this year for my birthday? You treat me to a spa package. I don't think
yeah,
that's the problem. I think the problem
mm-hmm.
is, hey, why haven't you never done this for me? And if you
Yeah,
really appreciated me, then you would have been doing these things. And maybe this is not something that I should even have to be requesting from you, asking you. You should just know that sometimes this is what I would want or this is what I would need.
yeah. And it becomes that problematic that they got to come see a specialist about it, you know?
Yeah, because you have
Wow.
even women, it's just not unique to men. It's even
Yeah.
women feeling like, hey, wait a minute. They might be right. I am working. A woman shouldn't
Hmm.
be. Yeah, I don't know about these. Maybe they are right. Yeah, why have I been working all of this time and provide? But the thing is, people are becoming angry and bitter about it and resentful.
Yeah. Is there any signs of enviness because they're not one or the other not getting it and other people getting it? Maybe a friend bragging about it, maybe as a coworker saying, "Oh, my spouse do this, my spouse do that," and they're not getting it. Is there any type of envy or jealousy going on too that might be sparing it?
That it could be enviousness and jealousness, but I haven't really had any clients so much in my experience as of yet. But it could be the type of clients I attract that don't really
Hmm.
compare themselves to the people next door. Not quite. I probably haven't ran into that probably since I first started, but yeah, that's not so much of them being influenced about what a woman should be in a relationship and what a man should be in a relationship and a marriage. I think that I don't really get, I mean, there can be some jealousy, but I don't really get many women or men saying, hey, because my friends have it, then I should have it too.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. It's a if you have an increase in clients coming in for with that type of topic, then that's a big deal, man. I never really, thought about it. That's a huge thing to really think about. So now in my mind, I was like, hmm, maybe I should anticipate it and get my wife something that I haven't done in a while or I haven't thought about. Just to just
But
to
the
anticipate the
thing is,
move.
it's not bad if it's not causing relationship problems. So if you
Right.
look at something on social media and it's helping you, have at it.
Yeah, I have had it. Yeah.
Yeah, but if it's
Yeah.
breaking down your marriage because somebody told you, you was happy up until you seen some social media clip about if your husband's requiring these things from you, then he's not a real man.
So let me ask the next question. How can people know when it's time to seek therapy?
When there's no progress and they stuck.
Mm. Simple and sweet.
Yeah, so if
Simple
you
and
feel the
sweet.
same that you felt last January, that you do this January, especially in the context of relationship, not like depression and things like that, then yeah, you
Hmm.
should probably come to therapy. Like if it's just not getting any better and it's progressively worse, or if you can only maintain stability in your relationship for 1 month and then you right back bad again for three or
Yeah.
four months,
Yeah.
but it's a context on bad, like you're gonna argue. So believe it or not, as a relationship therapist, you want to know that your couple argue just a little bit. We want to know that you're bickering, because then that means that everybody has a voice in the relationship, and
Right.
nobody's walking on eggshells. But we don't need them to be volatile. We don't need them to be so escalated that people are now calling each other names or walking out the
Right.
house or abandoning their marriage for weeks, 2 or 3 days,
Yeah.
and then a hotel. That's not healthy. But to get a little
Yeah.
annoyed and maybe bicker some here and there, that might mean that your relationship got blood flowing through it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. What are some of the misconceptions, or common misconceptions about therapy?
That you must be really, really in bad shape or
Mm.
very, very mentally unstable, and that you must need some type of pills or medication, and that's the only reason you would seek therapy. That I'm maybe experiencing major psychosis or major mental breakdown, and that's the only way that I need um, any type of therapy, and that would be a misconception.
How long, when
That
you're
you
dealing with couples, how long does it normally take? I know every couple is different, and every situation is different, but in a typical, when you're working with couples or individuals, how long does it normally take? 90 days or a year?
to see a major shift and change in your relationship, I say every couple should at least give themselves 6 months to a year. Now, to see progress, that should be very quick,
Mm.
meaning maybe after the first session, maybe after two sessions. Small progress, or you notice a change, yeah, that doesn't take 6 months to a year. It just depends on the couple and their needs. And since I usually mess with high conflictual situations,
Mm.
I don't usually, my specialty wouldn't be we just can't decide on where to go out on a date at. I would probably refer them to somebody else. We
Oh yeah,
dealing with,
that's not your specialty.
yeah. So usually people that come, I'm not saying I don't have those clients, but I probably just send them like YouTube or a little packet or
Hmm.
something, and then if they can't figure it out from there, then maybe they can come back. Um, but I
Right.
usually deal with infidelity, just high conflictual situations, just
Yeah.
uh, where we just can't stop arguing. Um, on the brink of divorce, maybe
Hmm.
things like that. I help people divorce to a
Yeah.
point that is friendly. So some people are able to go through a friendly divorce because they have come to therapy and sorted out their feelings and made a decision. Some people, one person's in it and don't really want to be in it, and sometimes they can either be reconnected or decide to finally be honest with their partner and let them know that it's just not working for them.
Yeah. I know my first marriage, it was fine, and then all of a sudden the in-laws got involved, got all in the business, got in the personal business, the business, just couldn't get them out of the marriage. I'm like, man, that was problematic. Do you experience any of that type of things where the spouse in-laws is always in the mix of stuff?
Yeah, and I've helped a lot of couples successfully navigate that to
Hmm.
where
It's
they understand how to manage their in-laws and stay married.
Yeah, it's very challenging. What about court appointed couples or clients? You got anybody that's coming from the courts? They get you get recommended, they get
I've
recommended to
had
you.
those, but that's not really what I like to do because
Gotcha.
confidentiality is very a high priority for me. And usually the type of clientele I have, I would not probably even deal, not because it's something inherently wrong with that.
Hmm.
That's just not where I'm at, and I would just probably wrap it up on that. So yeah, that's not what I don't do. I would work with women in domestic violence, but it just depends on where she's at in the domestic violence process, and how severe.
Hmm.
But uh, that's not really what I do at I Am Therapy or at I Am Nine. So that's not really what we do at either of those companies. But I do get referrals. People say,
Hmm.
"Hey, Johnny told me to give you a call. They say you're pretty good. This is what's going
Yeah.
on. Me and my wife are about to divorce, and we in the court now. And then as soon as they say they're messing with the court system, then I'm out."
Oh wow. Okay. So you mentioned IM9. Is that a different branch from IM therapy? Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I Am Nine is very different. So let me say this: therapy is more uh, really we dealing with mental health concerns, depression, anxiety, maybe even in relationships when you have a spouse with, and then it's not, how I say, well, you know, I've even helped some people divorce, so as a therapist, you kind of really non-biased about everything, and you're kind of like, it's just whatever the couple goals are, if they're trying to make it, sure. If they're not, sure. So the difference with I Am Nine is it's not mental health based, but it is a relationship coaching program. But everybody has degrees and experience in therapy. The reason why I wanted to separate it is so that I can reach people just outside the states that I'm licensed in, and so we can
Hmm.
focus on relationship success only. As a therapist, I cannot have the bias and say relationship success only. So I Am Nine is just really about relationship success, two people committed to make their relationship work. And that's pretty what I Am Nine is. We deal with a lot of different things like sexual intimacy, non monogamy, affair recovery. You just trying to stay married. But I learned this from the therapy side. I had so many clients ask me, when are you gonna start some groups, especially men? You'll be amazed at how many men come to therapy by
Oh yeah.
themselves, without
Hmm.
their wives, without their spouse, and they just trying to figure out how to make her happy. And I feel really, really proud that I have a large male clientele, and I'm actually able to help them get their lives on track and to dispel the myths. So I want to say this to the wives and girlfriends and fiancés. Stop dragging your significant others to therapy with other men. I've
Hmm.
heard a lot of different things from that. Oftentimes they will feel judged. One, you don't know what their relationship is with their own fathers, to where a man telling them something to do or guiding them in therapy is just not going to work for them. And how many times they report and say, I don't feel like I'm really being held accountable.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
so stop, let them choose. Don't, if a therapist is a good therapist, or a relationship coach is a good relationship coach, they're not gonna pull the wool over our eyes just because we women.
Right.
We don't
Right.
operate. The
Exactly.
profession is not about operating in the nature where, even if I am a submissive wife in my own marriage and all of this type of stuff, that as a therapist, I'm not gonna be like some lamb or sheep with the wool over my eyes when it comes to your, mate. That's not what we do, and so I have a large male clientele that really puts a lot of trust in me, and I have a lot of gratitude for that, because they
Yeah.
report having a lot of success in their relationship, even if it comes down to intimacy. I even had guys come to therapy and say, I don't know why I cheat, but I want to stop.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go to a male because it don't work, or they've already tried it and it don't work. And so sometimes male therapists will feel like, I don't resonate with what you're saying, so I don't really know how to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
as a therapist, a truly trained therapist, you don't have to resonate with your client to help them. That's
Awesome.
not what therapy
First,
is about.
first, I'm glad to hear that more men are seeking help through therapy because as we was coming up a long time ago, we was told that take it on the chin, suck it up, you be all right, toughen up. But I glad to hear that more men are stepping into therapy to try to get the help that they need, whatever their situation is. I'm glad to hear that, man. So many men, like if a man is going to therapy, it doesn't make us weak; it makes us strong, right? It's your superpower. Go to therapy, seek help, get the wisdom and understanding from a therapist who has years of skin in the game that can really help you to overcome whatever it may be, or help you through a situation that you're struggling with, whether it's personally or you're in the marriage or whatever it is. Get some help, man. It's such a beautiful thing to talk things out with a licensed therapist. Whether it's intimacy or you're cheating or maybe erectile dysfunction, whatever it is. Like you want to talk to somebody, and sometimes as a man, I understand how men feel. Like I really don't want to talk to another man about it. You can talk to a woman therapist to get a better perspective, a different perspective. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that. That when you said that, that really uh, made me feel good because so many men are on the brink of destruction and they don't know what to do. They can't handle chaos around them or in their life, and so they turn to alcohol and drugs and different things of that nature to really make them feel good for a short period of time. But it's just a short time fix, man. You need something that's going to really dig deep and not something that's going to just scratch the surface. You need to peel back the layers and good things. So get things going. So you mentioned your bio mentioned about learning the inward outward process. Tell everybody, walk people what that really means, because a lot of people they always working externally instead of internally. So why is it so important for people to start with the inside and work themselves out?
Okay, can I go back and then answer that?
Hmm.
Okay. So I want to finish up my I am nine thing. I'm sorry if I was taking too long to explain that.
No, no, go
Um,
ahead, go ahead. By all
okay,
means, go
yeah,
ahead.
but I was getting into the story about men and stuff, because a lot of my clients, they just want a community of other men and support, and women too, where they just have groups with other camaraderie with other guys, because they just want to stay married. So they just want to know, are you having some of these same issues that I'm having? And how can we just do this in a group atmosphere where I can just check in for about 45 minutes a week, check in with my group, have a coach there or a therapist there to just help us navigate the challenges of every day. And so that's kind of like why I Am Nine came into play, because
Mm,
I just wanted to give relationships, whether it's male or female, support. Support to make
mhm.
it through. Just like if you have addiction or you're going through grief or you have other things going on, it's support groups for that. And I wanted to create a space where couples can have ongoing support forever. So if I need to have my groups once a week, I have my groups once a week. It gives me good tools. It gives me good insight. I know I'm not in this fight alone with my husband, with my wife, or us as a team. And we just have that support and love and guidance to help us just navigate just life, relationship, and everything else. And I'm finished up on that part. And
Yeah.
you get into the inward, outward. It's just actually just the concept that everybody should live by, right? Because you project what's in the inside. So you have to understand a lot of different dynamics, especially, when you're operating from a broken heart, how those things are inner thing.
Mm,
It's like how those things even control your thought process, your actions, and behaviors, and being able to heal yourself inwardly, almost like spiritually. How do you just start
mm.
working on yourself in that way and just really creating some changes for yourself in the inside first, with your intentions, with your values, with your thought process, and how that projects and creates what's on the outside.
Have you found that some people are afraid to go inward, like they're afraid to peel back the scabs or open that door where them demons are, peel back the layers?
Yeah, it's people that's afraid to go inwardly, and then I think that it's people that's afraid to address those things. Because if I address those things and I fix those things, then maybe it eliminates the excuses. So I
Mm,
need to hold on to those things. Sometimes you need to hold on to those things because sometimes it's a forgiveness thing. So it might be mother, brother, auntie, uncle, I don't know, journey
right.
down the road, somebody did something to you, and you're out here being a complete ass most of your life. So then, if you fix that, you can't be that no more. And if
Right.
sometimes you feel like if I fix that, then what does that say about the person that did this thing to me? So now, if
Mm,
I clean and fix my heart and it's unbroken, and yeah, I'm operating at a maximum capacity. And so, what about them? Does this mean now they won't have? What about my retribution? What about me getting even? What about my vengeance? What about their consequence? So sometimes
yeah.
people feel like I must stay brokenhearted in order for them to suffer along with me.
Yeah,
And
which
so
is
we
crazy.
have to really do the inner work to our outer experiences, and how we
Hmm.
experience life can be very different. Because if I experience life from a broken heart, that's going to shape my lens. That's how I see.
Hmm.
That's how I interact with the world. That's how my
Right.
days ebb and flow. It's based off some inner things that need to be cleaned up, washed up, healed, and repaired so that now I can experience life in a clean, quality manner.
Mm. That's heavy. I know because even for me personally, it was some things that I went through years ago and I didn't want to revisit, but I had to. And it was right before I got married with my wife now. We really had to go through therapy, and it's a lot of tough questions, and a lot of it, I was open to answer, but it was painful for me to let it all out, But I was at that point where I had to get this information out. I had to heal. I had to get away from the PTSD I was dealing with, anxiety I was dealing with, in order for me to go forward in a new marriage. Right? I had to unpack a lot of things that I was holding on to, and it wasn't fair to her for me to go in this new marriage with all. 20 years of stuff from my past. So the therapist, she was really cool, and I was able to unpack and release a lot of tension, a lot of hidden drama, peel back the layers. For me, because once time goes by for me, like my mind and my heart will start to grow callous over it. Then I go into this protective shell, and then it doesn't matter what you say or do. It's not going to really bother me. It's going to like bing bounce off me. I don't care about that. And I'll harness that energy and then use it for whatever I need to use it for, right? But I realized that it was killing me slowly. I could feel it was slowing me down spiritually. And when something things come up, I can feel the shift. I can feel the weight on me. It's like, man, this is starting to get too much. So that was a show enough sign for me to get rid of things. Like, okay, you got to throw things overboard, man. You just sink. This ship is about to sink, and you'll feel it right away. So you're like, okay, you gotta get rid of this, you gotta talk about that, you gotta get rid of that, you gotta talk about your kids, you gotta talk about, all the things you've been holding on to. And you gotta talk about grief, the loss of my father. Like I held on to that pain. So I had to release all that, and releasing is good for me. So, all right, so let's talk about what do you think about, or what do you feel about intergenerational trauma? Is that a thing that most people deal with, whether it's in a marriage, so that people don't know why they're so stressed, people don't know why they go through this? Is intergenerational trauma something that people deal with in your practice?
Yeah, I think intergenerational trauma is something that's definitely the best case textbooks example I can give you is, I don't know, Grandma Louise saw her husband, Grandpa Bernard or something, get ate up by some dogs, possibly killed him or nearly killed him. I don't really know. And then everybody in the family is afraid of dogs. And absolutely nobody's
Hmm.
never had a pet. Nobody's never been bit by a dog. But when they see a dog, they take off running. And
Yeah,
you're like, well, what?
yeah.
Why are you afraid of dogs? And then they might say, well, my grandma always
Right.
used to see dogs and say, get away from that dog.
Hmm.
Dogs are bad,
She's
but we could never have pets because we was just, and that would be a like textbook example of how intergenerational trauma can happen. It happened to somebody back in 1700.
yeah.
Nobody in 2024 was there to witness it, but everybody in the family be like, "Oh no, we don't mess with no dogs." Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And they feel it.
Nah,
They
we don't
feel
mess with.
the fear. If they see a dog, they on the other side of the road. My husband's afraid of dogs, and while I haven't really gotten down to the bottom of it, because I can't be a therapist in my own life. So, but he afraid of dogs and never even had one.
Yeah. Intergenerational trauma.
Yeah. Um, so that
Yeah.
would be, so it's really real. And then when you get into the science of it and how it then becomes part of your DNA and your genetic makeup and in your cell and all of those type of things, it's really multi-layered and can be a very deep thing when you do when you can even understand how trauma affects the cells and all of that. And
Hmm.
for generations to come and how it affects your DNA and all of those things for generations to come, because now it's something that, you know, everybody needs to be aware of. But it's also being able to reprogram, right? And it's
Hmm.
also able to say, well, now how does the family start learning from the trauma? You definitely have the other half of that to create a difference in your family. So, like I tell a lot of people that come to me with issues, Even people who say, well, I never was taught how to be a husband. I'm like, no, you were, because if you definitely was taught how not to be one, then you taught how to be one. Just don't do the things
Right.
that you saw this person do.
That's it.
I don't understand how to
Simple.
be a dad. Well, what did you want your dad to do for you? Then you
Hmm.
understand how to be a dad.
Yeah, that's a good concept. Yeah.
So
Yeah. If you
basically,
come,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was
No,
like,
go
so
ahead. Go ahead.
basically, that's the other half of it. So if the whole family's been experiencing dads that don't care and you happen to be a son born of your dad, then you have all of this information of absolutely what not to do to break the cycle.
Hmm.
But the thing is, because you're not healed and because you haven't got what's yours, then you are subconsciously refusing to break the cycle.
Hmm.
Because why would I
Yeah.
be a dad? See, I'm telling you, this stuff works deep. Why would I be a dad if I haven't had a dad? So if I be
Hmm.
a good dad, then does that let my dad off the hook?
Right.
So does that mean now he somehow gets seen in a good light? Because then that would make people possibly think I came from a good dad if I'm a good dad.
Hmm.
So like what would be holding you back?
Correct. Yeah, I understand that. Now, you deal with people every day. It's a lot of things that come up in your practice. How does Sherry on deal with all the information she consumes with other people during the course of the day? Now, does Sherry on has a therapist that she goes to and talk to?
Well, yeah, I do. I have more like a person that a supervision person. So we have to pay the supervision person. But what we do is we just
Hmm.
peel back the layers on cases. They ask me if any biases have come up in my life. While I don't still need a supervisor person, I still have a
It's-
supervisor person.
yeah,
But it is a high recommendation that therapists do see therapists. And the biggest thing is because you want to check the stuff that's going on in your life. Make sure
correct.
you don't bring it into therapy. So if my
Mm,
marriage ain't going good, I need to make sure I still had a space to be a therapist for somebody else who possibly their marriage is going good. And I'm not
there
bringing
it
the
is. Mm,
anxieties and the fears and the bitterness and resentfulness into the therapy room. That I'm actually able to understand either when it's operating, because if you don't understand when it's operating, then you're going to keep haphazardly trying to help somebody that you're not in a condition to help. And so it's
right.
good for you to know that, have therapy for that. One, so you don't bring it into the therapy room, or if it is present, you know, hey, it's not a good time for me to work with couples right now. I need a time out because you don't want to
Yeah.
start creating goals based off the goals you want in your own life. So I don't want to think the woman, because I'm female, is experiencing the same emotions that I'm experiencing, or the same hurt and pain that I might be experiencing in my personal life from her husband. She might have a different set of emotional needs or some of the things that he's
Right.
doing that might be triggering to me, which I don't
Hmm.
really get triggered like that, but triggering to me. And, you know, we don't, so then I start working towards an outcome that'll be good for me in my life instead of an
Right.
outcome that would be good for them in their life.
Right. So, how can people find a good therapist? Because there's some therapists out there that just not, you know, I'm sorry. No disrespect to therapists. Some therapists is just not. What should people be looking for in search of a good therapist, such as yourself?
I think for me, and, you know, the therapy world's going to probably beat me up for this. I think that doing those consultations is not a good snapshot of the therapist. I think that you should really have one or two sessions with your therapist to determine if they're right for you. You must be
Mm,
able to feel comfortable with them, and you must be able to build some type of trust with them. And somebody you just can vibe with. That's just pretty much
yeah.
like I don't For me to go on Google and look up all of these different therapists with different approaches and all this type of stuff, I think it can be confusing for a person that's not a therapist and that haven't been to school to say, yeah, I'm gonna find me a solution focused therapist or I'm gonna find me a CBT therapist. Just go, be free, have about 2 sessions with them, and you can make your decision from that. I don't really think you can make your decision from a 15-minute consultation. I just think you
Right. So
should just use your intuition, state what your problem is, and if they're ethical therapists, you're gonna know they're gonna either tell you I can't help you with your problem. That's not what I do, but they're gonna help you.
yeah. So what type of you said is CPD or CPT?
CBT, cognitive
C
behavior therapy.
Okay, talk a little bit. What is that? What type of therapy is that?
It's just reprogramming your brain in a way, just to simplify
Oh,
it. So it's like teaching you new habits, uh, thought distortions. So getting rid of the self-talk, but it's a technique and an intervention, certain set of interventions that they use. And so people who are long-term friends with therapy, some of those people know what therapeutic approach work for them. I'm like on the, if I were to say I'm not married to one approach over the other, but if I were to say that I had an approach, it would probably be more of highly systemic. I look for a lot of patterns, a lot of relationship, interpersonal knowing your childhood is my friend. So it would be like psychodynamic, psychoanalytic.
gotcha.
That's kind of contrary to what marriage and family therapists believe because we real systemic in nature. For those who are marriage and family therapists are in the therapy where they would know what a Bowen therapist is. So I'm real Bowen. And that deals with a lot of intergenerational um, trauma and how it's transmitted from generation to generation.
Mm,
So I would not probably, I'm narrative based. So that's like the stories you tell yourself in a script, the things that's controlling your lens.
right.
So I'm pretty much those approaches, but I'm not married to one over the other. And a lot of people are probably familiar with Gottman. So I do use some interventions from Gottman in relationship um, therapies, but that's probably it.
Awesome. So how can people deal with infidelity? How can they cope with it if or when it happens with them?
Well, when they have to figure out if they really want to move forward in their relationship, to figure out if they're gonna
Mm,
how they're gonna cope with the infidelity. Is it really a deal breaker? If they are gonna cope with infidelity, my best advice for them is to go to therapy. Because I meet so
mm,
many couples that they will come 5 years later still trying to cope with an affair that happened 5 years earlier. And it's just have
mm,
gotten worse. Nothing is working. And the one thing I do see most of the time with people who's trying to cope with infidelity is the person that the affair happened to is trying to rush to forgive the other person. Because for
mm.
some reason, I think we had this relationship that if we forgive, then everything will be much better. But what it does is just the opposite. You can't rush to forgiveness. You really have to process this whole thing, what it means to you and what it means for your relationship. So as of late, I do see a whole lot of couples that's trying to
Infidelity.
recover from infidelity. Like I say, I'm on a high conflict in a relationship, so I see a lot of high conflict, real high situations that's happening. Not just infidelity, but just a lot of stuff. It can be a
Yeah,
whole lot
yeah,
of stuff. But the thing that I admire about a lot of these couples is they're really trying to make their relationship work.
yeah, yeah. I understand. I get it. I probably would too. I feel being my second marriage, being in my mid 50s, like I really need to make this work, right? Because I don't want to fumble the ball in any way, shape, or fashion. I live in a city where there's women everywhere and it's very challenging, right? And so I was like, okay, stay steady, stay focused, do what you got to do. Don't get, you know, don't get off track with all that stuff. And so I want to make sure that I'm not going into any type of separation or divorce in my mid 50s. And then here I am close to 60 trying to date. I think that is whack to me. I was like, I'm not trying to do all that right now. So a lot of things I've done earlier in my life. Well, before I got married again. So I'm like, okay, all that is behind me. Okay, so now moving forward, I can build and that's not a distraction. That's not something that I have to worry about anymore. So I try to keep a healthy marriage as much as I possibly can. uh, Communication, date night, just wherever I could help out in her business or, in her life or whatever it is. So it's like, it's important for me right now. I think couples today, they're too distracted or things are lacking in the relationship or in the marriage that uh, somebody's not doing something to fix it. And what I've seen when I'm working with men, some men are dealing with low libido or low sex drive because of they're dealing with an illness or they're dealing with too much alcohol consumption or smoking too much cigarettes, whatever it is. And the wife is saying, hey, you need to go lose weight, work out, get in, go to the doctor, you know, and they're being stubborn. And then when it comes down to intimacy, it's not the type of intimacy the wife is really enjoying,
Hmm.
right? So now when it comes down to, I'm tired talking to you over time about this. I'm feeling neglected. I'm feeling like you're not paying attention to me. And then the wife might go one time and do something, right? Outside the marriage. And then, sometimes with the men, what I'm seeing, the men, would be like, well, my wife is not paying me no attention and X, Y, and Z. So I met this younger girl, who's X, Y, and Z, and then now that's a whole uh, different story of infidelity there. So the marriage is really in a conflict right now. So it's like you got to anticipate what your spouse is telling you. She's not, like I tell guys all the time. If your wife or girlfriend keep telling you something over and over again, and you just, oh, she's fussing all the time. Like, look, you need to listen. Okay, she's giving you warnings of how she's feeling. If you think she's complaining, she's letting you know. I feel she's letting you know that, hey, this is problematic for me. You're not doing anything to try to work on it. And eventually, somebody else going to give her the attention she needs. Right. And so I know that because I've been that guy where when I was super single, I was the other guy who their wife or girlfriend was coming for attention. So I was like, man, if I ever get married again, this is what I'm not going to do. I'm going to stay on point and make sure if she's saying something to me over and over again, I'm not going to ignore her. I'm going to listen, be an active listener, and then act on it because I already know I was that guy before, so I don't want to be the guy on the other side of the spectrum. So when it comes down, I feel when it comes down to infidelity, a lot of things happen and people are not paying attention in the marriage. And sometimes people dip out, but sometimes it can be a medical issue as well, where it's lack of intimacy is a problem. So it's a whole bunch of things going on, and I'm pretty sure it's a list of things that happen that causes infidelity. So when it comes down to conflicts in a relationship, what are some tips to dealing with the conflicts in relationship? Because right now I feel like it can be maybe the economy, finances is always one. But what are some tips? You know,
Okay, so lately, I'm gonna just point out you name mainly the top two besides communication. while bring couples to therapy: finances and sexual intimacy. So financially, it's about understanding your values. You cannot set goals without understanding your values. What is it about the finances that's bringing you to therapy, or what is it? Is somebody a saver versus somebody not being a saver? What would be the reason that finances is a problem? Are you saying you don't have any money? So even understanding why it's an issue and why it's so much an issue that the relationship is suffering from is the start. Understanding your relationship with money is a start. What is my relationship with money? Is it about control? Is it about power? Is it about leisure? Um, what's the relationship with money? Is it about gender roles? Is that why
Mm-hmm.
you are having a financial breakdown? Is it about you are a man, so I think you should have more money? Is it about being 50-50? Is it about I need some help and you're not telling me I need some help? Is it about somebody buying big ticket items without communicating? So some
Mm-hmm.
resolves would be: one, knowing your values, understanding your relationship with money, and understanding your priorities when it comes to finances.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Excellent.
sexual intimacy, I don't know, that's a different thing, because then we get into, is it frequency? Is it quality? Is it
Mm.
performance anxiety? Is it you just won't admit that you have erectile dysfunction or endometriosis or vaginismus? So the endometriosis
Mm-hmm.
and vaginismus and pelvic floor, those are some things that the women can experience that make
Right.
sex undesirable for them, and they won't say nothing. Erectile dysfunction is something that men will experience, and then nobody will say anything. And the thing that I see, women will keep it quiet and suffer through the pain and won't say anything, but their partners will notice something's off just by if their body tense, if their face are looking weird. But because they're not saying this is uncomfortable for me, and the man may
Mm-hmm.
have slept with other women and he's like, why is she acting like this? Then it can make
Right.
intimacy strange and distant
Mm-hmm.
and become a complicated dance. So
Yeah.
that would
Yeah.
be the solution. Do you have anything like that going on that you're not communicating with your partner? If so, you need to
Right.
admit it. Go to your MD or your urologist or your
Mm-hmm.
gynecologist. And a lot of women report having success with physical therapy when they have vaginismus or endometriosis of pelvic floor. So
Mm-hmm.
go get your physical therapy on top of having therapy. So a lot of my clients
Right.
that had those issues that are doing both are reporting really good success. So they have to work together. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
It's very important, man. Because dealing in the health and wellness spectrum, is a lot of guys who I know that we talk about it, and it's like you need to lose the weight. You need to put down the vices. Stop smoking, quit drinking, and your if your wife is complaining, well, she's telling you, hey, this is not satisfying to me no more, or you feel like that's it. Like she's like, that's it. That's all it is, and she's getting frustrated, and you it's been
Well,
years and it's the same thing.
I want to say this, Terrence, because especially with men and erectile dysfunction, that's why I wanted to talk about the women first before I get to the men. So
Hmm.
they won't say, wait, she's just talking about men and erectile dysfunction. So the
Hmm.
thing I want to say most is, one, a lot of men will come to therapy alone. I really need ladies to understand this without their significant other even knowing that they're coming, because they do
Hmm.
want to tackle this issue. They just don't want to tackle it in front of you. So that's number one. Number two is, guys, you have to admit that something's wrong. That's because you're
Hmm.
able to successfully self pleasure and watch a porn and go from start to ejaculation and finishing doesn't mean that you don't have erectile dysfunction. Because you're able to
Hmm.
see big booty Judy walk down the street and your penis may get an erection, temporary erection, that doesn't qualify and say you don't have erectile dysfunction.
Mm.
So a lot of guys will think I can watch porn and still have masturbate and everything's great, so it must be you. No, it's not just them. One, it could be because your overusage of porn that's disconnecting you from the real world. They are
Oh
in an
wow.
industry to make money. They are in an
Yeah.
industry to hit that reward center. They are selling a fantasy. You're not
Yeah.
about to get that in your bedroom. And if you do, you're getting it on special days. Nobody's built to do that every time you want to have sex.
Yeah. You said special days like birthdays and holidays.
Yeah.
Dang. Birthdays and
Nobody can do
it's your,
that. So a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
men would say, well, she was doing that before we got married. And a lot of women would say, well, yeah, I wasn't having your kids and cooking your dinner and cleaning your house either. I just had to worry about loving you. That was my only
Yeah.
job. I didn't have to
Yeah.
worry about loving you through caretaking of your kids. I didn't have to worry about possibly picking my mother-in-law up and taking her to the store on Saturdays. I just had to worry about looking pretty and being fresh and clean for you. That was my only worry when it came to you. Now I have wife things to be concerned about.
Right.
And
Right.
my only job is not go to work, come home to maybe the place I'm staying by myself and freshen up and smell good and get ready for you to come over. That's the only thing I got to worry about. I don't really
Right.
necessarily have to worry about making sure you feel emotionally rewarded and accommodated. This goes both ways, men and women, on a daily basis. So sometimes when you are having husband and wife responsibilities versus girlfriend and boyfriend responsibilities, sex may look very different.
Yeah.
I am not an advocate of zero sex in a relationship because you have to understand that just like if somebody needs quality time, if somebody needs gifts or the love language or words of affirmation, or somebody needs to they need sex. So y'all gotta figure out how to make this work. You can't just like be like,
Hmm.
nah, I don't want to do it because you mad and don't
Right.
do it. You can't do that. That's completely
Yeah.
no, not in a marriage or not in a relationship that is a highly committed relationship. You know, that's like a one in need for somebody. So men with erectile dysfunction just need to admit that they have it so they can go do something.
Okay.
Go to the
Yeah,
urologist.
ladies. Yeah, admit that you have it. Don't be trying to go get no honey pack and Viagra's and all that stuff. Just get the help that you need. I'm trying to tell you. You know, it's a big thing. I brought that up because just recently three guys we were talking to and it came down to that. And I said, you know, your diet is wrong. You know, your behavior, your daily behavior practices are off. And I just look at you now, you're smoking a cigar, drinking cognac. You know, it's like all these things are inhibitors. And when you have somebody like you mentioned the reward center, and that stuck with me. So when most of these guys they get off from work and they want to go and they want to smoke and they want to drink, it rewards the stress from a long day at work. So, but they don't know it's compounding that's causing ED in their life. And I was like, you got to give up the smoking and the drinking. Oh man, you know, it's like that made me feel good. I said, yeah, but it's causing a problem over here. You see what I'm saying? So these are the vices that you have to let go. And it's a big deal. It's a real big deal. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sherry on Phelps, N.A. Phelps. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist, but she goes way beyond family and marriage. She goes into relationships and individual situations. Tell everybody all the programs and all the things that you got going on that you can deal with for people.
Okay, so I'm really wanting my relationships to really start looking at I am nine, I am nine.com. That's EIEAM the number 9.com for most of your relationship needs. You don't have to stay in Georgia. You don't have to stay. You can be anywhere in the world, and we will be able to service you and help you. And the
Global.
biggest global, yep. We will be able to help you with any relationship dynamic you have. It's not just groups, so you can't have one-on-one coaching sessions. Don't get turned off by the word coaching. The people that are on staff do have degrees in of psychology or some type of form of therapy. So that's number one. Number two, we service all type of relationship styles. I think we mentioned earlier already non-monogamy, infidelity repair, high conflict couples. I think we described what high conflict is. You just can't get along, and your arguments. When I say volatile, not necessarily physical, but a lot of name calling, people leaving, you going over your mama's house for
Right.
2 or 3 days. That would be a high conflict relationship. We have low conflict relationship needs. We have arranged marriage, and we have dating and premarital couples. So we offer all of those services. We offer 1 day intensive workshops, which goes over most domains: communication, conflict resolution, sexual intimacy, uh, partner styles and habit, quality time. I'm probably not naming them
Hmm.
all, but we go over those in a 1 day if you want to do it in 1 day. And if you think your relationship just need a boost and a refresher, and it's just gonna, you can sign up for that. So that's a service. But the goal is that you stay married or stay in your relationship dynamic, or for dating couples that's thinking about marriage, fine. For premarital couples that want to be prepared for when they get married, fine. So the services is just everything relationship. We want to help you get on track, stay in your relationship. We definitely want to eradicate just toxic relationship behavior problem. We really want to do
Awesome.
away with the loneliness, do away with feeling like you just can't make your relationship work. We want you to really know that relationships can work if you're committed to making them work. And that's what we're just all about: being a support
Yeah.
system for you and your, love life.
What's the websites?
Okay, one is www.iam9.com and the other one is iamtherapy.com. Therapy, you can use your insurance. Coaching, you can use your
Mm.
insurance. You can use your HSA, your FSA. You can't get no reimbursements, um, not unless you come to the therapy side of it.
Awesome. Any final words of advice?
No, I don't really have any final words or advice, I guess, except for if you are really trying to figure out how to thrive in your relationship, just please reach out. I am, as a human being, just look at this like my purpose, my life mission, to really make love work for those who want love to work. Don't come if you're not interested in your love working. We don't have any time to
Mm.
waste. Um, you got therapy for that. So if you're trying to figure out if you like your wife or your spouse, don't come to relationship coaching. Is just all about those who want to achieve and be successful. That's pretty much all I have to say.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, Sherry N.A. Phelps, IamTherapy.com and IM9.com. You need some help for your family or individual. She got a whole bunch of programs. Make sure you go to her website and check her out. You cannot go wrong. And I want to do a follow up interview with you, Sherry, on about the holidays. People dealing with conflict or grief during the holidays, and that'd be a great segment I want to do with you. We'll talk about that offline, and because people are going through a lot right now, and I think that they can benefit from the information that you can share with them. So I appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, Sherry on N.A. Phelps. We hope, or we know that you're going to enjoy this program because we only want to highlight individuals who are doing amazing things to impact your life on a global stage. We don't sit around just interview anybody. Just let me be clear about that. Not everybody gets accepted because I don't want to talk about stuff that's empty rhetoric. I want to talk about things that's going to help the world improve and get better, whether on the person in your personal life or in your professional life. And this is what it is. We all need to self improve. We all need to get better and help one another, lift one another up so we can be a united front for one another, right? So if you're dealing with things in your marriage or in your relationship, then you need a therapist like Sherry on because, as you can hear, she has a wealth of information, experience, and the education and the science to back it all up. So it's not just like, hey, do this and do that. Now, one thing that's profound, she said, look, if you just want to talk about anything in your relationship, she don't deal in that. She like the high impact, high conflict stuff. That's the stuff I feel that's more challenging for Sherry on. She's like, yo, I don't want the low stuff y'all going on. She's not dismissing it, but she gonna recommend you to somebody else who's willing to deal with that. She want the thick stuff. Like she likes to get into the swamp with you guys and figure it all out, right? She'll get down in there and say, look, this is what I see it is and work it through with you. Now, for me, that's the type of therapist that I would love to have. I don't want nobody just to say, hey, do this and do that and then come on next week. I want somebody to really get in there with me and help me to peel back the layers, right? Help me to identify things that I didn't even know I was dealing with. And this is the most important thing. Like I wouldn't know I was dealing with that unless I'm having conversation with Sherry on, and she breaks it down. Say, "Oh, you dealing with this, oh, you dealing with that." And I'm like, "Huh?" I want that aha moment where I'd be like, "Oh, that's the breakthrough right there," or "Oh, that's the puzzle, that's the missing piece." Right? I've been looking for that all along, and found out it was right in front of me all the time, but I didn't want to peel back that layer. I didn't want to open that door. So that's the type of Sherry on. You're the type of therapist that people should hire and incorporate into their regular routines when it comes down to managing relationships and marriages. Like you said, if you don't want their marriage, you don't want relationship, then don't come because I don't have time. She only wants, I said she only wants to deal with people who said, look, I want to save my marriage. I want my relationship to work. This is why we're here. But two people have to want it though, because it can't work with just one person. If the other person don't want it, then just let it go. So we appreciate you, Sherry on. Look, my name is Terrence Hutchinson, right here at the Your Best Lifestyle Health and Wellness Podcast. Thank you to everybody who's been listening to the show, downloading and sharing and all that stuff like that. We know that we are making an impact in your life. If you go back and check all our other shows, matter of fact, BJ was here. BJ was here.
BJ, yeah.
And yeah, and he is from with Sherry on.
Yeah.
Right. And he dropped some amazing knowledge too. So go back and check that show out. We still editing some clips. So go back and check that show out and see the amazing content that he shared with us on that show. So it's like people are knowledgeable, man. You need the help. You need to seek the help. If you don't need the help, you don't want the help, then please don't call. Don't come around because it's too many people that needs the help. Okay. So go back and check that show out, and then we break this show down, come back and revisit this show. Sherry on Phelps, ladies and gentlemen. We know you're going to love it. Happy holidays, and we'll see you soon.